I'm watching that too.
Okay. Let's see here. Yes, it's live properly. I have to switch over the thing. My chat's gonna be we gotta be. Okay, pop out the chat. Go here.
Oh, finally. Yeah, I see it up here now, finally. Hooray! Okay, yeah, we're here.
I'm gonna have to remake my tweet too. That's the other part that sucks because it's gonna direct them to the wrong link, so I have to do that again. Oh my god.
That's yeah.
Oh my god, it's such a fiasco. While I get this up, does your chat have any questions for us? Because we can do because I want to run my pre-roll and then we're gonna do introductions as well. I just wanted to know it beforehand because I'm trying to get it up and that up at the same time.
Yeah, I just posted the link. It should be up soon.
Okay.
Yes, we're technically live now. But
nobody really has any questions right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I will post this.
That is the wrong link. That is the correct link. Hello. Okay. This is what happens when podcasts go wrong, by the way. This is not the usual.
Of course.
Okay, that is up there. And
that is a cute kitty pillow, by the way. Just thought I'd note.
Huh?
All I was saying is,
he's talking about your pillow.
My pillow?
That's what I thought.
Whatever the kitty thing you were showing, I glanced over at the stream.
I met a girl on CSGO, and then we became friends, and then she added me on Instagram, and then she hit me up, and she was like, "Hey, would you by chance want a painting?"
Oh,
I was like, "Sure."
That's very nice. Oh,
and it's Jabba Bella.
It looks like it's made. Is it green or it's supposed to be gray?
It's green. It's supposed to be Jabba the Hutt. Because, like, my cat was sitting there looking all fat and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, you look like Jabba.
Solo. Oh.
Yeah.
That was a terrible job. I could do better than that.
You work on that while I'm working on this.
See, on my wall, I have a creepy clown painting. I have a piece of art from an artist I love, and I guess Aristotle contemplating the bust of Homer. 2 of those 3 I got from the day job. Anywho. Enough about me. By the way, Carl, as far as I can tell, we are live over on the other side. I don't know what you don't need to run the pre-roll, I don't think.
No, I'm gonna run the pre-roll. We worked on it. We're going to show it.
Of course, you're gonna run the pre-roll. Of course.
Trying to figure out why her thing would not come up, and it's because a file decided to not render correctly or did not want to.
That sounds about right.
JPEG.
Carl, it's okay.
JPEG. There we go.
Okay, just
on. Ooh, Jesus, you made that big. You made that really big.
Yeah, I Carl, I render in 4K. Okay, don't get mad at me. Yeah, they always say render larger than you're going to use, and that's what I do. I'm obsessed with quality. That's what I am. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, fuck. Of course I said that. Okay.
Drag this down on this level. Into place. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I see her.
Okay. I think we are good. All right. 5, 4.
Yes, I see. Me.
Yeah, I fucked up many things tonight. Hello. Hi.
You don't say, Carl. You don't say.
So, hello everybody. We have a bigger audience than we usually do tonight, because tonight is a special occasion. We have ourselves our actual first guest star. And we're going to go ahead and do a round of introductions, starting with our guest, Anna, if you would do the honors.
Hi, I'm Nanners.
Nanners.
This is Nanners. Shit, we get my thing. Is it Nana Banana or Nana's Banana BT? I'm trying to figure out. Because I know there's a couple of links here.
What?
Your Instagram handle and your Twitch handle are slightly different. MsBananasTS.
Yes.
Okay. So guys, this is Nanners. She is Miss Bananas on Twitch, on Streamlabs as well, and on Instagram is MsBananasTS. She is the subject of today's podcast topic and the drama that we shall be covering. And as always, your two dynamic duo hosts. I am Single Player Carl on Twitch, as well as Mr. Random on Twitter, and everywhere else that I can be found. And this is my co-host, Charza Kitsune. Say hi, Charza.
Hi. Hi, Charza.
Hi, Charza.
Hi, Charza. Everyone say hi, Charza.
Hi.
I ever look to the left, you see a big pile of chicken wings. I couldn't keep that bit going. Anywho, let's get on to the subject. I'm not gonna.
Okay, so allow us to set the stage, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna throw the tweet up here so that everybody can basically see it and follow along, and we'll read as we go and talk as we go, which is the idea.
Reading is fun.
But you go ahead, Nana, and you take us back to, I guess, 5:37 p.m. or a.m. Yesterday, or on the 27th actually. So Friday, Saturday.
Let's rewind the clock back to the thread that got you into this trouble, I guess.
Yeah.
In other words.
So take us back how this tweet happened, basically.
Well, I was on Twitch, and in my recommended, I saw like ladies in just a lot of skin, and I was just kind of like, oh, what the fuck is this even Twitch? So then I went to just chatting, and then I saw more of it, and then I screenshot it and was like, there's no way this is Twitch, and then I put it up and it went viral.
As you do.
Yeah. Oh wow. That is a lot of quote tweets. Oh, like I just look at them like.
Yeah, I had
having an anxiety attack, so.
Oh, breathe, girl.
I'm good. I'm sniffing my candle, breathing.
Oh, there you go. Believe me, anxiety attacks are something I deal with. Not fun.
What flavor is the candle?
What is it? It's flamingo orchid.
Is it from Yankee? Is it from Yankee Candle?
No, it's from Target.
Ah, yes, Target. As my ex once put it, it's the Walmart for the middle upper class.
You know, it's actually funny. When I went to Yankee Candle to buy candles, somebody literally just said, "No, you don't want these. You literally want to go to Walmart and buy this." And I asked them why, and then I went there and was like, "Actually, I can get it because Yankee Candle is expensive as shit, like bougie as hell, but it's good."
They're in the mall,
but it's good, but at the same time, they're in the mall. So I'm like, why would you send me away? Don't you want my business? And they're just like, no, you don't want these. Because apparently, it has like a stigma behind it. It's not like the candle that's like the fun, flirty candle that you'd expect people to have in their homes, or like the thing that you'd have to like build a space. It's like what you'd expect to get as like a regift from Christmas or something. It's like, oh, thanks.
It's true.
Like, thanks, Grandma. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all of these candles of soft linen down. But yeah, I had a busy morning this morning. After I contacted you, Anna, because when I do anything, I research things. Like my staple and my motto is that I like to get it right, not get it first, and I maybe sometimes both. And when I saw the massive amount of quote tweets, I'm like, because Twitter is unmitigated fucking cancer. There's no,
I was gonna say
there's no if
you're
way
not gonna say
around.
cancer. I was gonna,
There's
cancer.
there's no if way up or around about it. So like I just dived in head first, and like I'll give everybody the experience real quick, right? So it's like this is half.
Okay.
This is half the speed that I went looking through this if it loads. But like all of this, just nonstop. Like imagine an argument, Anna. Just go ahead. Imagine an argument. Because there's people for and against.
Lots
but
and
just
lots.
imagine like anything. Imagine what some people are saying. I mean, that's actually a good impression of people. But like, you have people saying, let's go through it like this. If my stream's not lagging and yeah, I can be heard. Unless my microphone just muted.
Why did we go back?
Carl, just don't overdo it here.
No, let's see.
Because I just loaded a Twitter a single image.
Mm-hmm. But like I'm trying to get it to go, and I'm pretty sure my stream just lagged at the same time, which is why I couldn't hear anything. But you've got takes like people are so mad at her for this while forgetting that there are kids on Twitch, 12-year-olds. Twitch, it's not a place for this. Everyone reacting because she was bitching about OnlyFans creators or something. Then you have the classic responses: "How dare women have bodies?" And then my personal hated favorites. Did he pick you? Is he shitting on other women that are doing what they want with their bodies and platform worth the male validation? Misogynistic women will always be baffling to me. Please shut the heck up and leave other women alone.
Oh my god.
I got tired of looking at communist symbols and the phrase eternalized misogyny. So then I went rolling down the timeline of things. Right? And in the research in doing this, because I have to slightly mention, I'm not going to put it on screen, but I do have to mention it. Somebody decided to do the classic, "Is this you, sis?" to you, Anna. And they pulled up pictures that you had posted on Twitter promoting your own OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And like, I understand why there are people who do that, because sometimes that is an argument, but that's not the argument you were making, right?
No, but I have a very open mind, and so I really do understand where most of the women were coming from. Sure, at first glance it does look like I'm bashing women. The puke emojis, I'm guilty, but it was more of the disgust for Twitch allowing it.
Yeah.
For the fact that, they were like, women should support women, and then going through my old content from like August of last year, June last year, and being like, "Is this you?" Like, yeah, that was me. But, one day I just woke up and I had some experiences happen that changed my mind completely, which we can totally go into later.
Mm-hmm. My entire I bring it up there because I'm number one. I'm cutting the arguments out before they even begin. Where it's like, well, she did. No, that's not even the fucking point, sis. Like, you're bashing women. Number one. Right? But then number two, when people do that, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go back in her timeline. First off, well, actually, second off, why are you so pressed that you're digging through the backlog to try and find an argument to say, no, you can't talk about this because you used to do this too? And like you said, well, sis, that was me. But, bitch, I woke up and I'm a new bitch. What's good? How you doing? You wing flapping? You feeling bad? But then the third problem, and this is the problem.
Yes, go on.
But like the third problem, and this is the thing that we were just talking about before we went live. It's literally dragging you down to the lowest common denominator, right? Because they don't know who you are. They barely know anything about you, the majority of the people who are replying to this. Because somebody linked it on their timeline, and then they saw it, and then they had words to say. And then you had streamers from every side of the aisle, from people like me to people like Asmon Gold, having their takes. I didn't say anything, actually. I just stood back and watched. But the entire problem that I have with it is, like, we have this argument all the fucking time about Twitch. Like, every single time the conversation comes up. It's like what Devin Nash actually said in concerns when this happened with Bad Bunny and Invader V specifically. This is like an argument and a talking point that comes up like every 6 weeks or so. But it's always here. Yeah. But the person who invokes the conversation coming up is always different. And this time, it was actually somebody completely different, from a completely different viewpoint, and completely different mind, making the argument that most people like to strawman out of hand, which is like, guys, I'm not talking about the girls, but I'm talking about the website. How do they allow this? And like I showed you...
I don't blame them, because I did screenshot these girls, but it wasn't meant to go off the way how it did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was genuinely like a what the fuck moment, and then, was
everyone took it the wrong way. Did
Sure, but you know what? It's out there. It's like going, you go on Twitch. What's the difference between like screenshotting and not screenshotting? Like, it's there. So I wasn't necessarily like doing anything wrong, but it just kind of got all taken out of proportions.
That's why it's why beforehand I like explained to you like a little bit of the backlog of how this dialogue usually goes, because that's why people react the way they do. Some people do it on purpose. Some people do it genuinely. You had a genuine reaction to Will being shocked that this was happening on the website, the same way that you were shocked that what happened with misbehaving happened. And when that happens, usually it's a knee-jerk reaction from people that they decide, oh, you're talking about this because you're actually jealous of them. And it sucks when people do that, because it's dragging people down to the lowest common denominator. Because, for example, I know exactly a perfect case that I can cite from my experience talking to people about this, because I had an entire like half-day argument with Natalie Casanova, the zombie unicorn, because she used to paint her boobs for Twitch, mainly to cover up, number one, to get attention. That was the main goal for her. But number two, she was doing it so that she could cover up the fact that she just had a major bust doing bully hunters, because it was a faked event that was put together by an ad company specifically to sell headsets. It was a fake event. It was never going to solve the problem of harassment in video games and misogyny on the website. And when it blew up in her face like that, she immediately switched to something else so that she could take the heat off of herself. And the problem is that for her, coming at people like you and me, the argument is, oh, you're just jealous of us because you don't have anything to promote your personality. Your personality's shit. Why don't you go be a better streamer? That was what she said to me when I was at 200 followers on Twitter. Now I'm at over, what am I at now? Like getting close to 3,500? And she's still trend chasing, basically. Because whenever she comes up, she's like a couple of other female and male streamers, right? All they do is get clout from causing drama on the website. And then that drama makes a knee-jerk reaction from Twitch as a company to try and censor and control problems. Because every single time they do anything when it concerns their rules, and sometimes when it concerns their bans, except when they actually do research, like the knee-jerk reaction that happened with the ban on words simp, incel, and virgin as insults, the same way that you want us to avoid the specific no word for suggesting to women. Y'all know the one that start with T. When they do bans for that, it is almost always seen as a knee-jerk reaction. And the reason it's seen as a knee-jerk reaction, and why I can understand that you were having a bit of stress just now and a panic attack, is because that's how Twitch behaves. They see this happen, and they're like, oh, fuck, here we go. Because the same people come out of the woodwork, and they dogpile on the people involved. No matter what the situation is, that is almost always the avenue and what happens. Because it's a hyper-focusing on the most extreme elements, right? Like, if you were being assaulted by something, you have a dude over here who's just politely sitting in a chair reading a book, and then you have a person threatening you with a weapon. Who would you react to as, like, the threat?
The guy in the chair, obviously.
Yeah, right? So, that's actually how they look at it. Like, they do things...
No, people like John Wick killed that one dude with a book.
He did.
He's just sitting there menacingly.
Menacingly.
Because, like, the way that Twitch thinks, you can't think of it as, like, humans at the computer. Because there are people in the company. There are genuine staffers that I am more than certain and more than sure give a shit about the website. But it's not what Twitch used to be, right? It's not Twitch pre-Amazon in 2014. It is something that is on the docket of a company that makes their money selling delivery services and web hosting services through AWS. They do not care about what happens on Twitch necessarily. They just want them to create revenue. They're like 0.00001% of their income. And everybody has known for years how things get wild at Twitch. And if they don't know, well, now you know. For them,
I know it gets half the battle.
For them, when they look at a situation like, for example, any of the drama that happens in a week, perfect example is from a couple of broadcasts ago. Critical Bard, a black supremacist essentially, decides to antagonize and insult all white people. And then you have Hassan Abi coming up behind him saying, oh, he's not saying fuck white people. He's just saying that you can be proud of being Italian. You can be proud of being Brazilian, but you can't be proud of being white because white is not a thing, because that's not stuff. And I'm gonna have it out on this. And this was him going off because back when they were actually doing it before they changed it to what it is now, they removed the PogChamp emote because Gutex, because of Gutex and the shit that involved the riot at the Capitol, which essentially, the way that they actually ruled on that was, Gutex said, justice for Ashley Babbitt, and they said, no emote for Gutex. And they were not sure what they were going to do, so they decided to do a roll system automatically with the bot every day, so that a streamer could become the PogChamp of the day, featured and given to partners. And
what could possibly go wrong? Everything.
And it just so happened that the PogChamp of the day decided to have autism on the broadcast. And, well, whenever you see a broadcaster like Hassan B just come up out of nowhere to try and defend you, that's when you know you've done some head-ass shit. So they walked that back, and then they decided to make an entirely new PogChamp emote so they don't have that happen again. And in here, it's the same with this situation. They knee-jerk at what happens the same way that they did with the women's promotion post that they ended up deleting because it didn't get the hit that they wanted. When it works for them, they will go with whatever's happening. When it doesn't work for them, they will immediately backstep and say, "Oh, we're sorry. We did not mean that. We will try to learn again, and we will revise our methods and move forward better in the future." And
a lot of hard shit.
It kills conversations. Because when people do that shit, it brings everybody down to the lowest common denominator. You're not allowed to have an opinion, and when you do have an opinion, the reason you have an opinion is because you're upset, not because you have a point to make.
Okay, now I'm back on track.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. So, like, for you, walk us through how you came, walk us through Nana doing the side hustle to Nana now. What was it that made you wake up that morning and say, nope?
Wait, are we talking about my OnlyFans right now?
No. Like, how did you...
What side hustle?
Like, how did you arrive at the decision to say, that's not me, I'm not doing that?
So we are talking about my OnlyFans.
No. We're not talking about the OnlyFans for making it. Like, how did you arrive at, I'm a streamer, and I do this on the side too. I'm changing my image, I'm walking away from that, I'm not being that. Like, the emotional journey, that's what I'm talking about, not the content on your stuff.
Yes, he's referring to what you're thinking. In other words, translation.
So my OnlyFans, when I decided to stop doing OnlyFans.
Yes.
Yeah. What made you come to that decision is what he's asking. I'm a translator for Carl.
Thank you. I was like trying to clarify, and then he was like, no, but yes. And I was like, but yes? And he was like, yes, but no. And I'm like, okay.
Believe me, I speak Carl.
I will learn. Trying to, at least. Okay, so
I'm a good interpreter.
what happened was I was doing streaming full time during the beginning of COVID. My mom was like, I can't get sick because her boyfriend has just gotten over having throat cancer. So he could not get sick. So she had to shut down her entire business, which put me out of work. She was still working from home, but I just worked in the office, whatever. So I started streaming full time and I was doing really good. Viewership was high, subs were going. Like I was able to support my lifestyle um for a very short period of time. And then everybody had to go back to work and viewership went down and I wasn't able to support myself anymore. And I was constantly on Twitter because I was like, always interacting with my community, et cetera, et cetera. And and I saw like all these girls just posting their content. I was like, fuck, I want to do that. Like, look at this money. I have a screenshot somewhere of this girl that made like 10 grand or something. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, okay, here we go. I'm doing it. But I contemplated on it. It didn't originally start off as, hold on, let me backtrack a little bit because I forgot about this. So, when you're streaming and you get up to go to the bathroom and your chair is just kind of sitting in the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so chat was making fun and saying, damn, that's a sexy chair. Yeah, chair OnlyFans. So me being me, I'm a huge memer. I was like, I'm gonna make an OnlyFans account for my gaming chair. Well, originally I posted like one of them was nut all over me and clean me off. And I literally poured almonds all over my gaming chair and then just wiped it off. I was hardcore trolling. And I got a lot of subs because of the tweet, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it started escalating because I realized that I was making more money. I was like, oh my God, the money flows nice. So I got into the chair and posted a picture of me in sweats with my butt in the camera, and
The classic.
I made a lot of money off of it. So then the dark side hit in. I became a Sith Lord, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like,
Sith
I'm
Lord.
on the full dark side now. And I started posting lewds.
Mm-hmm.
And I started realizing that the community that I had built prior to doing that started to disrespect me in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I started losing followers and I was gaining followers for the wrong reason. They weren't necessarily there for me, they were there for my OnlyFans content.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, people who were there for me for like 5-6 months were like, I want to support you, but I don't support people who do OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was like, I don't do nudity. I never did nudity. But anyway, so I only did lewds. And I kept doing it. And then, like, my DMs on my OnlyFans kept getting very, like, disrespectful. Like, men asking me to do shit that I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, tips were going lower because I wasn't giving them what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, you see a woman in lingerie, it's like, oh, hell yeah. But then, like, you want more. So you bribe her for money and you're like, I'll give you $500 if you show me your tits, which is one of the DMs that I got. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I don't know. I woke up one day and I wanted to fucking puke. Like, I was so disgusted with myself and I didn't like myself. Like, I liked the money. I loved the money. Who doesn't? But me, myself, just seeing how my community was disappointed in me and seeing that side of me, like, I lost so much respect for myself that I decided that it wasn't for me. So I kind of stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, to sum it up, it was for desperation of money. Like, I needed to make money.
Okay.
Well, I'm not a woman. I can totally understand the at least the emotional insanity that can, or not insanity, but you know what I mean. Like the roller coaster that can be there. That's that's a story. I guess that's all I can say.
Well, I mean, you asked how
Mm-hmm.
how it got there and what made me wake up one day, and it was just I didn't love myself. I realized that the only reason why I got attention from men was because of my body,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want that. I always want people to like me for my personality.
You seem like a nice person. I mean, and I just met you today, but that's just me. I mean,
Thanks.
You're welcome.
He is a teddy bear. He wants the hug, the virtual hug. But yeah, that is essentially, I would say, like 90% the journey for a lot of people that have gone from that. Like I mentioned before, I've done work. Granted, people ain't gonna find it because most of it's vocal, but I've done work like that before. And the first time,
so you queefed in a mic?
Yes, actually.
Sorry, go on.
I've done voice roll shit. I've done phone sex shit. I've actually been in the underground scene that exists down here, and what I like to call the Bible Black, the deep south, south of the Georgia Dixie line. It's a very big thing that happens in Atlanta, because that is like 75% of the old egg money that the families make, because there are so many underground clubs. Because if you want to do something strange for some change, they got you. But at the same time, it's still not safe, right? Because like when you're doing it on the internet, which is why OnlyFans is coming into prominence, you can do it from the safety of your home. You can set your terms. You set your work hours. You set the limit which you go to. But the other side of the coin is that even though the money comes easy, it's not going to come easy forever. It's going to get harder because it's going to start escalating. At first, it started with a joke. Because it's like, haha, hee hee, ho ho, ho, ho. And then it became, oh shit, like you're weaving dollars in my face and all I see is bucks, baby. But then you start escalating. It goes from, well, let's just do it for the meme to like, let's do
inching.
Yeah, let's do it for the meme, and then let's do it for the Vine, and then let's do it one time for
so I could get, $200 for having sweatpants on with my butt in the camera. Like, it's literally just my butt. Like, it wasn't even like my underwear. I had sweatpants on, and people were like, "Ugh." So
yeah, it's people always say the slippery slope doesn't exist, and yet
it is. It's a super slippery slope. So then, like, my next one was, I'm gonna take my shirt off and just be in my bra, And then it was, I'm just gonna be in my bra and underwear.
Mm-hmm.
And then the worst that it got was, I'm gonna take my bra off but cover up. Like, I'm not gonna show anything, but I'm still, And it is a very dangerous, slippery slope. And then like the fact that men, so the women in the tweet were trying to say that I'm objectifying women and that I'm a misogynist and all this crazy shit. Well, that's not true, because
you're
I
a woman
love
for
women.
one thing.
I'm a woman for one thing, exactly. No, I'm not, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Haha. Anyways, what was I saying?
Oh, they're calling you a misogynist.
What?
They were calling you a misogynist?
Oh yeah, so they're like calling me all these horrible things, and in my head I'm like, I went through the hatred of myself over doing this as my profession. Like, how am I trying to get people to show respect for themselves? Not saying that they don't have respect for themselves, because some people are, they're lost in the sauce and they're happy with it, and they probably won't wake up. They're probably addicted to,
The
sex
attention.
and the attention and all this crazy stuff.
If I may interject, this is my whole theory from the outside.
Go ahead, baby.
My whole thing, because I've seen a lot of people like that, unrelated to this, but in general, where it's not I from what I'm seeing of this whole situation from the like 110-foot view or whatever, or from a bird's eye view in a nutshell, is you had a bunch of people who were probably like you were posting this innocently enough. You're like, all I see is this, and you were just confused.
On Twitch.
Yes, on Twitch. You were just like, what is all this? Like, you really haven't sat down and thought about it. But there are people who are very much aware of this. I mean, a YouTuber that I work with, that I've made the VTuber rig for, Gundam, makes videos joking about it all the time because it's gotten absolutely batshit insane. But he views it more like a comedian laughing as the world burns. And then there's other people who are pointing it out all the time, and they're like, what is going on here? Or they're looking at it from like like men's rights activists, or all that stuff. But you're just saying, what's going on here? You didn't know any of the context, or a chunk of it anyway. You were just kind of confused. And they probably thought to themselves, how dare this person say anything? I guess what I'm saying is, a lot of these people are probably thinking similar to where you were when you were like, why am I doing this? But they went a step further and probably rationalized it in their head. Like, well,
I'm saying, like, some people are okay with that.
Yeah.
There are some people.
But
there are some people. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Like Mia Khalifa, she hates herself for what she did. She absolutely hates herself. She's like, I can't go to the supermarket without like dads looking at me or like even their sons. She's like, I'm always super uncomfortable in my own skin and I'm trying to learn to love myself.
Well, I know like one of my personal examples of this, who's on Twitter. I recommend people look into her. Not too far, but it's someone who's Siren Cove. She is a YouTuber slash at one point and kind of flip-flopping amateur in the scene. She is someone who's, I mean, she has a background of like anxiety and other things, and she jumped into all this in a very similar it rings very similar to what you've been saying, and it's like it's a stigma, but they went into it like I need the money, etc. But there's also people who have, well, here's an example I wouldn't want to bring up lightly, but people have been saying, oh, cancel culture doesn't exist. Well, unfortunately, or they say it doesn't exist because no one has been truly canceled. To that I say, do you remember August Ames? Because unfortunately there was a situation where August Ames, who was in fact a adult actress, decided, or rather was going to do a shoot, and the person she was doing the video with was what's called a crossover actor. So they do both gay and straight pornography.
They do girl and guy.
And as well as homosexual, they cross over, as they say. Well, unfortunately, or I guess on that side of the industry, the STD testing is far lighter. So she's like, I'm not going to do this shoot unless he gets a test, because I need to look out for my body, because that's whatever. And so she walked away from it because they wouldn't do it. And basically, when she mentions it on Twitter, a bunch of people in the gay porn industry harassed her and called her homophobic and all this other stuff, and she killed herself. And they were like, "Oh well, one less bigot in the world."
Escalated really fast.
Yeah, it was bad. But if you look at it from the outside, without that, context of these people getting upset, it makes sense for her to want to say that. She's like, I'm protecting my assets, for lack of a better term. I wouldn't say it's the exact same thing here, but it's a similar concept where people are like, well, how dare you have an opinion? There's on Twitter.
Can I just go ahead and try to backtrack just a little bit?
By all means, I'm sorry. I went on a tangent. My apologies.
We're talking about Twitch.
Fair. You know what?
Twitch.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's 100% fine.
I appreciate you catching me there.
Please excuse my
Twitch.
Please excuse my co-host. He has a touch of the tism.
Touch? I'm diagnosed, my friend. Anyway,
I just don't want to sit here and slander on them, because
no,
they're
that's a fair
what
point.
they want to do. My whole idea of this situation is Twitch. When I think of Twitch,
Fair enough.
I think of streamers doing something that's appropriate for all audiences. And sure, there could be a section like we were discussing in chat yesterday. You guys weren't here because we just kind of started talking today. But anyways, we were talking about how if it was sectioned off, and it wasn't so highly promoted, because I literally was on recommended. And I think the reason why it got recommended to me was because I occasionally do just chatting. And it's like, oh, because you do this. Because there were also people in the recommended playing Apex. Might I add, there was literally a woman with oil slicked up on her chest. And I was like, okay, see, that's a little bit of a line. But when the women in the tweet were talking about it's for the environment. And then yesterday, yes, I was talking about, you could dress a little bit more appropriately. But you know what? Like everybody's arguing, let women wear what they want to wear. If they want to wear a two-piece like that, then fine. If you're happy in it, then be happy in it. Personally, me, I would, make it cute. I would wear a one-piece, with a floaty on and some, I'd make it cute and funny.
One piece, floaty.
I know.
White and yellow
white
and yellow lines and polka dots.
The fact that my niece is 7 and she goes on YouTube to watch Sniper Wolf. She loves Sniper Wolf, and then her little Minecraft videos, etc., etc. Her mom, my sister-in-law, won't let her go on Twitch because the time that she did go on Twitch, it was plastered with all this stuff of like people in bikinis, and she's like, whoa, no, I don't want to put my daughter through that, because children are very young and impressionable. Like, you should know that if you're babysitting a kid and you say fuck, that kid's gonna say fuck.
Yep.
And then you're gonna get in trouble by the parent, because it's gonna be like, wait, why does my kid say fuck? Because they're impressionable. They're little sponges. They're learning. So I'm not trying to cancel them at all. And I feel like that's what a lot of people were like trying to, people were thinking that I'm trying to cancel it completely. I'm not. I do wish that women would dress a little bit more respectably on a streaming platform. Like the women who, there was this one streamer. It's actually against TOS to bash any other streamer.
Yeah.
So, but she was literally she was doing just chatting, and she was wearing a bra with like a half shirt that just covered her neck. And on TOS, it says, if you're not in a swimming environment, if you're not doing this, if you're not dressed appropriately for your environment, then it is TOS. It's against TOS.
Well, it's funny.
So, like, the girls who are playing Apex and they're wearing literally a bralette, I feel like that's a little inappropriate. The women who want to do their bathing suit streams or whatever, like, that's all fine and dandy. You're at the beach, you're at a pool, which I think is a little inappropriate, but I'm not anybody, and apparently streaming has just kind of like wide range takeoff, in my opinion.
Well, Nanner, it's you mentioned your 7-year-old niece, because that hits home for me. I have actually a niece who just turned 7, and I'll be honest, I would never bring her even remotely close to Twitch. I almost never but at the same time, I if you go on my Twitter, you'll notice I posted this video. She loves VTubers. And by that I mean, Hololive. She loves Corone, and she was just laughing her butt off about Guar. But I would never put her even close to Twitch for that exact same reason. She loves to see this, but she won't watch it, obviously. I would never put her even close to that for the exact same reason. But at the same time, you're right. It's like, that's the real issue here. I mean, a lot of kids go on, I guess, Twitch, I'm guessing, to watch like someone like Ninja and watch him play Fortnite.
Yeah.
And I don't stream on Twitch because, well, quite frankly, I don't see a reason for it. But also, it's because of this crazy situation where I wish it would be a gaming sphere where I could, play a game and interact with chat and have a good time. But I've never jumped into it because first off, I was more a YouTube guy. But anyway, I see exactly what you mean. It's a valid question. And unfortunately, it's a muddy subject, because as soon as you bring it up, you're going to get people like that were all these quote tweets. It's like, when are we going to get to this point where we can talk about this? It's sad. Because I want people to enjoy. I want to enjoy Twitch. I wish I could go on Twitch and have fun.
Yeah, I've seen a lot on Twitter lately of people giving up on streaming because they're not growing. Because yes, it is a distraction. I mean, you're in a restaurant and somebody takes their shirt off, you're gonna look because it's skin. We're animals. We have instinct, and our instinct is to look at skin, and it draws our attention super quick because we're very sexual creatures. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's true.
Human
nature.
nature.
I'm not sexualizing women by saying that. I'm just saying, as a species of animal, we are sexual.
We need to reproduce, baby.
So whenever somebody hops on Twitch and they see skin, they're like, oh, okay, and they go right towards it. If they could stop promoting it and making it like, bam, front page, like if they had like just chatting and then like sectioned out, like every few blocks there was like, here's a pool stream, here's a that stream, but it's like, it goes by the viewership. And like the highest viewers are obviously going to be women in bikinis, because let's be real. But that's only because it goes by viewership and it's plastered as like, bam. So if they could do something to like lower the like algorithm or change the algorithm just a little bit to give like everybody else a fighting chance against like the skin exposure, I feel like people would do a lot better. And a lot of underrated streamers would actually have a fighting chance on Twitch.
Yes.
You know what this reminds me of, Colonel?
What?
It reminds me of the reply girl phenomenon on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same problem. Unfortunately, like, the challenge, the cynical bastard in me, looking at all this, I feel like the only way any of this would change, unfortunately, is something like an apocalypse, where unfortunately something happens and their hand is forced. And the saddest part is, I honestly wish we knew. Like I had this distinct feeling that the reason why they turned a blind eye to this isn't just the whatever corporate atmosphere. It's because they're the ones that are bringing in all the money.
No, that is part of the reason, actually, because a lot of the money that is being brought there is specifically being not serviced because, hey, we're taking the money from you, just give us a little bit on the table and we will take you. That's not all the reason. It's important to mention that because this runs alongside the same problem that we talked about last time, where that rule that was implemented, where you cannot suggest that the reason that a person has popularity on Twitch is because they've done something inherently sexual, which is something they codified with the rules, like under the radar, along all the drama. If the drama surrounding the streamer VO and the now former Twitch employee Hassan hadn't popped off the way that it popped off, where she came forward and explained, oh yeah, he was sexually soliciting me. He was trying to give me partner. He was trying to get me an extra Christmas bonus for being partner and shit like that. If that rule had been instituted before that person had been found out, they literally would have been enshrining and protecting somebody who was breaking not just TOS, but creating a horrible environment. Because that kind of behavior, the same with behavior with all the women that are doing this, it sets a precedent. And the precedent is that this is you. Like, it's the meme of, like, this DMC4 Dante and Nero standing beside themselves and looking at their DMC version saying, this is your future. Because, like, that literally is, unironically, your future. You're looking at just chatting. Because just chatting is the most rampant place where it happens. It happens in a couple other places, too. It can happen on popular categories like League of Legends. But you have this happen where you have a overwhelming majority where it is very clear it's about to go down, and it's going down every hour on the hour. And when it comes to shit like this, the problem that it sets is that it sets two things. It sets an expectation and it sets a precedent. The first expectation is that if you want to be on the board in just chatting or in any section, you either need to be someone who is friends with someone who's made, you need to be made yourself, you need to have the connections to be able to be lucky enough during your time slot to be within the top maybe 10, really 15, maybe 20, because if people have their choices to look at streams listed by high to low, rather than what I choose to do, which is by low to high, or just recommended, or personally looking through to find streamers that you like, that you can become fans of, you will never see prominence on Twitch. Because, it'll go along with what Anna was talking about, this is actually a problem that Twitch has. Because Devin talked about this, I talked about this, and other creators talked about this. Twitch is a pimp. Straight up. They are a pimp. They take 50% of the shit you make, and you do not get featured.
I am streaming on Twitch, so.
Yeah, Carl may wanna. Yeah. I mean, if we were just us.
No, I understand, but it's true.
They like money.
It is true. Like,
and that's
nice.
Because
I like money.
Because on one side of it,
who doesn't?
It is a business. So it's not even like it's a new thing. It was always like this, even before 2014. It's just that before 2014 with Twitch, it was a lot more camaraderie. There was a lot more free spirit and fun. The rules were not as extremely strict and lax. And then when the corporate side came in, the corporate culture deemed that it was necessary that you had to essentially take the fun out of the business. Because the fun is liability. That's what they see it as. It is a equation metric. More exposure equals more risk equals more variability and more exposure is a sliding, like, linear and also radical quadrative scale that just has an asymptote that cannot approach zero. Because as long as there is going to be streamers on the platform, and as long as there are people who will be inspired to become creators on the platform, you will always have this conversation on the back burner. And it'll come up, and then it will go, and then it'll come back again. And the extremes at which it goes begins to get a little bit more extreme, and then a little bit more extreme, and then a little bit more extreme, and then a little bit more extreme. For example, I have Hillary Nicole Pocket's tweet on screen here, where she's essentially lambasting you and accusing you of the thing that you just talked about, where she's saying, well, you're trying to drag these people down, and if you have a personal problem, you can report it and move on, but you're just doing this for attention. Shit like that pushes the conversation back and pushes it out of the Overton window, which is the window of acceptable speech and thought upon any given subject. People like Pocket push the Overton window away from what could be the possibility to create a driving change, because there is no way that you do not have a system to be able to promote streamers unless you create that system. Now, the advice that you'll be able to find from people like Alpha Gaming, that you'd find from me, but either learned it from Devin Nash or learned it on some creator course in the creator camp, I don't know, because I never used that piece of shit, they will tell you, well, you have to create your own. And this is where the problem comes in, right? Because you have more streamers on Twitch than you do watchers. So you'd have people who are pulling double duty. You have people who are either low-end streamers or high-end streamers or mid-end streamers, you know, your 3-figure, 4-figure, 6, and maybe sometimes if you're lucky and they're streaming along with a company like Blizzard, or they're streaming with a company like whoever makes the current COD. I don't even know anymore. I don't know if it's Sledgehammer, I don't know if it's Treyarch. Whoever they're working with, those 3 to 6-figure Andes, they're the ones that will dominate the charts. And it becomes basically, oh, this streamer's not live, I'm gonna go watch this streamer. That streamer's not live, I'm gonna go watch that streamer. And the streamers that are usually popular amongst the people are, unfortunately, the people who have always been here from the beginning, the people who have built the audience for themselves, that have done what Coke Harness has actually suggested before he was added to the Twitch Council, and after he was added to the Twitch Safety Council, because that's actually one of the things he's been talking about, Anna. He wants there to be, and this is also something Devin Nash has agreed with, actually. I can show you the video in question where he talks about it later, but this was one of the things that he mentioned. It needs to be possible that streamers, especially concerning this new update they added to brand safety and the number that they're going to start adding to our names when we're streaming on Twitch, they want, or rather, Devin wants, and Coke Harnett wants, and I want, there to be a way that I can disconnect myself from individuals who choose to do that. I don't want you to stop doing it. I'm not going to get in front of your moneymaker. You have, sis, do you. Boo-boo, you do you. I ain't got no problem. What I have a problem with is that when shit happens on the platform, and they say, all right, we're going to start sanctioning all streamers, that's when I got to go, nah. I'm over here playing a video game that's 20 years old. I'm over here shit posting on Twitter and laughing at dumb drama. Leave me alone. I have no part of this. Why are you punishing me for the actions of someone else? Because that's not fair. It's not fair for me. It's not fair for the up-and-comers. It's not fair for the mid-levels. It's not even fair to the high levels. Because that consistent behavior and the choices they choose to make to punish it affect the entire platform. And when you try to course correct on such a big degree of that, you end up course correcting so hard, you break something fundamentally. And it has been stretching the website to an extreme degree. Because users on the website know and they understand this and they want to be on the side of it, but optically, you know, when Pocket, who's got, if it can pop up here, who's got 58K followers on Twitter says you're a misogynist, do you really want to be on the other side of that? That's really what it comes down to. People pick choices not based on ethics or based on a personal standard or based on personal goals and beliefs. They don't do it based on those. It's based on, okay, I am working in a field full of sharks and there is chum already in the water. And they just slit the throat of a new girl and a new guy and they threw them in. I ain't trying to be next. So let me stand back here behind all these people and all this titty and all this breasts and all this thighs. And when I'm safe and all this breastises, then when I peek my head out, look to the left, look to the right, look to the left again, look to the right again, and I decide to stumble out and make my take, I'm going to make sure I'm not the one being targeted. That's how most people act and behave. It has always been a career. It has always been a career of Den and Vipers. And it sucks because the other side of this, that problem number two, is that for people who want to start streaming, all they see is this, and it immediately makes them never want to do it. Why? why take the risk? Why even try? Either you're not going to succeed because it's a luck
issue with the thing, yeah.
Either you're not going to succeed. Yes.
Hey. Comment says, chat says that you talk fast as fuck.
I'm sorry. It's a bad habit. I do this as a job, unfortunately. But I'll slow down.
It's all good.
I'll slow down.
It's an acquired taste.
But the number 2 problem is that it causes that feedback loop. It's extremely bad for women. Oh my god, is it so goddamn bad. If I could explain to you the numbers just by looking through Solinome and like giving you like a 30-minute rundown, I could explain it. But we don't have the time, and you can just assume from what I'm telling you here. It is actually weird, because the reason people do it is to try and stop the conversation from happening. Because realistically, they've pulled the ladder up behind themselves. People like Pocket, people like Asmon Gold, a couple of people on here. See, here's Asmon Gold's tweet. I'm seeing a couple of people here that I can recognize, but just rolling down the screen.
To be honest,
go ahead, Charza. Go ahead.
If I want to. If I can just give us a very brief overhead view, the challenge I think with Twitch is just there is a big problem, and those who make a lot of money in like just chatting have such a huge following they can throw around that almost never anything ever gets finished. Nothing gets changed. Nothing gets done, and it causes situations like this we witnessed in your feed, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a way of putting it. I'm done. Don't worry.
I'm doing a thing on the browser. I was trying to pull up a tweet question. The problem that I see, because for me, when I look at it, I see people, but I also see a problem, and I see patterns and trends. And the problem with the pattern and the trend is that as long as people are not willing to have this conversation, they will make the problem worse. And the more extreme that it gets, the more you're going to start seeing conversations like this in the mentions, where people will come along and say that a tweet is garbage and that it only exists for one thing. And when people see that, it disincentivizes every kind of streamer to stream, because who wants to have this kind of bullshit when all they're trying to do is just play fun, cute video games and like have cute outfits? Or if they're a dude and they go to the gym, like work out, go play video games, hang out with the squad, and then watch shit posts and joke with their chat, right? Because everybody has to build a community in some way and form.
Wasn't there a cosplayer who was like just playing games or doing art or crafts who was dressed up as Chun-Li and she got like banned like insanely harshly?
Yes, I can't remember her name.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you can look that up for me on the side if you want. But
yeah, I'll try.
This problem affects both. Well, I say both genders, but we're on Twitch, so I have to say the 72 genozenders and flavors. But this is a problem for both men, but it is 50,000 degrees worse for women, because unfortunately, by just nature of how things are, most women can get emotional about this. It's very cutting when somebody comes to you and says that you're doing it because of a body image, and they start scrutinizing you for everything you have.
Wait, what?
No, that happens. That happens a lot. When people have this happen, they scrutinize them for their appearance, and they come at you for your appearance, like they did you. And the problem with this is that it actually has a psychological boundary to it. Because new people who come into streaming usually hate being streamers because they expect to be bullied for every single thing about their appearance, their style, their clothing, their monetary value, their gains, their future that they have on the platform, all of it. There are so many goddamn studies on this. And the problem that it...
Well, there's also, like, the image, like, the imagery that they're tearing down, but also, like, I did not approve at all of the people that were, like, the people that were sticking up, they were going to their Twitter page, and they were like, oh, yeah, you've been streaming for how many years, and you're averaging this, like, the fuck does it matter? Like, for me, I've been streaming for, like, 2 years, right? And I probably average maybe 13, 15 viewers, right? But guess what? I'm perfectly fine with that. But somebody who's trying really hard, because I have my community, I'm vibing. Like I'm not out here trying to like go crazy. But somebody like a guy, it's harder for him because people aren't just gonna go to his stream. They're usually gonna go to girls' streams first.
Yeah.
Because, attractive female that plays video games. Or, they're usually gonna go, unless they're just not like that because people are wired different. And maybe they're just like, yeah, I wonder if this dude has like a thing, or like, they go into a category where it's like the top streamer's a guy or whatever. But it's honestly harder for guys to grow in the community unless they really work their freaking asses off. And for, somebody who's really, really trying and like on the grind, which is really fucking hard and can really hit your ego, for them to say something low like that and to strike somebody's ego, especially pertaining to streaming, I feel like that was just highly uncalled for.
It was.
Like you can call somebody ugly. Sticks and stones will break my bones. But if you talk about my grind and how hard I work, I'm working my jobs. I'm coming here and I'm streaming my little ass off, doing my video gaming, etc., etc. And yeah, my following's small, but who gives a shit, But to me, like a few months back, when I was really sensitive to the subject and really wanted to quit because I wasn't growing anymore, it kind of just went stagnant. And I was like, I'm not gonna make it. Like, I'm really considering giving up. Like, you don't know if somebody's on the verge of giving up, and then for them to stoop low and say shit like that, like,
horrible.
Get back on subject and start talking about whatever the fuck we were talking about, women being misogynist and whatever the fuck. But don't hit somebody where it fucking hurts. That's where I strongly disagree.
I just hate bullies. Yeah.
There was a guy who agreed with me. He agreed with me 100%. He was like, I got you, Nanners. Like, this, that. But he, the girl kept going at him and going at him and going at him because, she's whatever, super feminist, raging, whatever. And so she's like attacking. And she was a heavier set OnlyFans girl, which is fine. He said, why don't you get the pizza out of your mouth or something? No. I butt in and I said, you don't say something like that. And I guess he blocked her after that. And she thanked me. I was like, you don't have to like me, but I don't tolerate name calling. You don't belittle somebody because your ego is so fucking hard to build up and so easy to tear down. It's like trust. You don't do that. So everybody that was calling names and stuff, it kind of went a little off the chart and I couldn't really keep up. But when I did see name calling, I wasn't tolerating it. I didn't like any posts that anybody was calling anybody a whore or a thought or an e-thought. People were DMing me with e-thought. I was like, whatever, I'm going to respond. I appreciate the support, but I don't agree with calling people names.
I will. I'm just going to be honest, Miss Bananas. You have that's admirable. Like, I just want to make sure I state that because, I mean, heck, I have challenges with that. There are times where I'm going to be, I try not to name call, but just the fact that you immediately stops like, look, don't do that. I just want to make sure I just say that. That's admirable. That's a good quality concept. Yeah.
It's very rare for people to have principles to be able to take punches and then also pull punches when people start getting dirty. I have a bad habit with this because it's part of technically my personality, but I don't like it in any sense because it doesn't allow people to talk. Because when you come at people super hard and you go full out and you're just pulling anything that you can, you just literally just be talking and you see shit and you're just, and you're just, well, not even just that, just you're either sardonic and you want to roast someone, or you don't give a shit and you just want to attack them with whatever you think is going to be the best insult to cut them to the bone. So you start scrolling to the timeline. You know how people used to be back in the day where they would pull up, oh, you said you don't like this, but I see that you're liking several different pieces that come from obscure artists. I see that you're liking porn. I see that you're liking girls' tweets. Bro, that's sus. Shit like that cuts conversations. And we can't talk about shit. Because, like, I don't want to talk to somebody who does that. And at the same time, even if it's supposed to be something that's supposed to bait a reaction, where it's like, you see, now that you understand, now that this happened to you, do you understand why this is a wrong thing to do? Their ears are already shut. You can't reach them. The only way that you could is either you placate them with what they want, which is what a lot of the people do, where it's like, oh, we'll have a conversation, but it'll be on my terms. You do what I want. You do things when I say it. And that's not a relationship with an audience member. That's a thrall. Yes, but it's an audience of thrallship. Because if you're not free to speak to people, you can't express yourself. And at the same time, Twitter is not the place to be able to have conversations like that. Because when you're not listening to the person, sometimes it's, if you're face-to-face with them, you're gonna say shit that you... If you're not face-to-face with them, excuse me. If you're not face-to-face with them, there's shit that you will say to people because you are completely dehumanized from the human element.
There was a girl who was like bashing me, whatever. She retweeted my stuff and whatever, and her thing said something about, you're just insecure because my body's hot, or something like that. And my comment to her was something about, you look like a 12-year-old boy. After I made that comment, when I say I felt like shit for saying that, I felt like shit. And then she actually came by my stream and was like, giving me shit, which you're in your full right to give me shit, because that was fucked up for me to say. And I went over to her thing. I found her because somehow I remembered her name. I found her. I deleted the comment, and then I personally messaged her and said, I am so sorry. I was completely out of line. I was in the heat of the moment. People were pulling up my OnlyFans. People were just hitting me hard. Bam, bam, bam. This bitch, this misogynistic, bigot, etc., etc. Like, da, 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 da. And I snapped, and I said something very hurtful to somebody. And like I said, your ego is something that is really, really hard to build up. And once you get to that point, it's like a thin panel of glass. At least for me.
I think that's probably part of the reason they probably took you saying that as an attack on their ego. I guess that's what I was trying to say earlier, but I didn't articulate it well enough.
I'm just pulling up quote tweets right now because I was trying to look for some. I had some bookmarks, but I apparently deleted them. I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, it is exactly like that. There is, from the rarest places when it comes to Twitter in general, because Twitter is just ass in general. If you don't need it to promote yourself, I would suggest never having one, or I would suggest having a private Twitter that you only allow your personal friends and people that you like onto it, not even attaching for your fans to it. You just have it for yourself and your personal friends who can keep a secret, and you just never release it. Because it really is just a open this to immediately depress yourself button. Because if you're susceptible to conversations like that, if you're susceptible to things like that, it will put a downer on you. Especially if you're somebody who's trying to do the grind, like you mentioned. For me, my experience with this was a little bit different. Because for me, I have always had the ability to, and have always been a streamer. But for me, working with getting my life straight, setting my family up, education, my mother's health, shit like that, was more important to me than being able to stream. Because what's going to keep my bills paid? What's going to keep my lights on? Is it going to be me playing video games on the side with what is now a fucking 12-year-old laptop while I'm trying to build a computer in the back of my room here with parts that I still can't source because the GPU problem is so fucking outrageous right now. The only way that I could get a card, it would be basically give either $1,000 to $2,000 to somebody just for one piece of machine that at MSRP is worth like $250. Like, nah, I'm not feeling that. And I didn't feel it then, and I still don't feel it now. And at the same time, going from the point where I was at with, I guess that was what, 2018, 2019, with, what's her face? With, the Zombie Unicorn. Going from that point to here, there was a point where I told myself, I don't fucking care anymore. I'm literally just gonna start savaging people when they come at me. Because I have no reason to be silent. Because realistically in these situations, silence is complicity. You can have the ability to have a conversation with people, but if you're quite literally just scared that you're always going to be walking on eggshells, you can never have a conversation. You can't even have thoughts to yourself, because you're precognitively censoring yourself in fear of, okay, I can't say that because I'm here. I can't say that because I'm here. I can't say that because I'm here. I can't say this because I'm a guy. I can't say this because I'm a guy and I have only these many numbers. There are so many factors that you start to look at, that you start to over-criticize yourself, and then you become your own worst critic. Because it will always be in the back of your head where you're like, you can't do shit. Your numbers are ass. You dropped the kill. They're gonna savage you in the comments. No, you can't have that stream. It's always that. Because the way that I phrase it for people when I coach them and I talk to them about this. It's the voice of like your shadow self, and then there's the voice of your inner star player and you. So like your id ego and super ego. You yourself are looking out at things, and you're like, I don't know if I can do this challenge. And like your inner star player is just hyping yourself up in your ear, like, nah, bitch, you got this. Fuck you talking about? You did this last weekend. You didn't even have a camera on back then. What you mean? Go get that. Hey, go get that good skirt. You know the one that got a kitty on it. Go put it in your hair. Or if you're me, it's like, girl, you got this. Go get the purple headband, boy. You got this. Go turn on some Kendrick Lamar. Go jam the fucking, Takala Greens. Just have it in the background. Listen to Kissland 50,000 times before you go on stream.
What are we talking about again?
Twitch.
Good
Twitch.
question.
Twitch and motivation. Because this is one of the biggest motivators that kills people's careers on Twitch when they have situations like this. And it's important to be in touch with what I call your inner star player, but it's important to be in touch with your inner motivation so that when shit like this happens, when something goes viral, either because somebody wants to have an argument with you and they just want to make it a thing, or having the motivation to keep going forward despite things like this happening, or people worrying about your numbers, or even you worrying about your own growth, and it being something that affects you, your mental, on a regular day-to-day basis, because it's something you carry into every single stream that you do, and every single time you press start streaming. You have to be in the zone, effectively. You have to be so inoculated from being affected by it that just on repeat, you're like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Nothing outside of myself, nothing inside of myself. I'm not getting in my own way. I'm gonna have fun. I don't fucking care if I make it. I don't care if I don't. I'm vibing. And that's the kind of attitude that you have to kind of have on Twitch, especially. Because for Twitch, they don't have a system to promote people like they would on YouTube, or that you could technically have by using a service like Restream.io, which is the same service that we use to host the podcast. Because realistically, technically, the argument that exists, and this is something that Devin has repeated, and he's had talks with Alpha Star Gaming about this. I'm trying to remember his name. Is the dude who makes like the 2019 guide of how to be a better streamer kind of things. Because like that is a very big gold mine of like guru content that happens every so often. Because it's like the $1 million question. How do I make myself more popular? So people go to streamers like that and go to people like Devin and try to pay attention to like the curves. Like it's reading the Matrix. You're looking at the numbers and you're like, what do the numbers mean? What do I do with this information? And it's from people like that they will tell you that you should use services like Restream.io, because affiliate is effectively a trap. Because yes.
I think you may have lost her, Carl.
I'm trying to explain like that. I'm trying to explain where I'm going with this, because it's part of this problem.
You have a very what's the word for it? Like a very wild imagination, and I'm like that too. So I'll be talking about something, and then it's just like
it connects to shit. Because the thing that
eventually, once you get through like the twists and the ties and the turns, and then you're like back in the loop-de-loops and the loops arounds, and then the twisty twirls.
Okay, cool. I was worried there for a second.
No, because like it's rarely connected. Because like motivation, keeping yourself motivated while you're streaming, knowing what you're doing, understanding what is the metric for what you should set for yourself, not comparing yourself to the $1 million Andes.
I constantly help people. I have friends in stream, and one of them's here now talking in stream while you're talking. And they, you know, they have low numbers, whatever, and they kept telling me, like, I think I'm gonna give up. It's not working for me, etc., etc. And I told them, and this is what I tell myself all the time: you have people, even if it's one viewer, 2, 3, 5, 20, 300 viewers, they're there for you. They
Absolutely.
could be anywhere else, but they're there for you. So every time you stream, you put on your best performance for those people. Even if it's 3 viewers and you feel like shit because nobody's talking, they're probably doing their house chores and they're doing this. And I was like, don't give up. You don't give up. You're on the grind. It takes time, because streaming is like a cup of tea. Some people like green tea. Some people like black tea. Some people like, the fruity teas. Some people like the flower-based teas.
I like Earl Grey.
It's like somebody could come by your stream
Same.
and be like, sip, sip. hang out for a while and just not have that vibe. So then they'll move on, and that's perfectly fine.
Yes, it's like teen crumpets. They stick it. They come in. They stick their head in. And it's like, ooh, what's going on here? What's happening? I don't like this video game. Ooh, sorry. Step. And then there are some people that you're like, hey, boom, 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 boom. What's going on, bro? You having fun?
I like this stuff.
I like this game. What are you doing? Bro, that was a sick ass play. Like, everybody's different when it comes to interacting with the streamer. And sometimes it's hard to remember, but it's something that I feel like some streamers should remember. Especially, this is advice that I would give to your to your low viewer friend. The first piece of advice I would give is second piece of advice. The first piece of advice that I'd give is that if you're not already an affiliate, start using something like Restream.io. And then set a restream bar for you to restream to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and maybe one other streaming site, like maybe DLive or something. And then just watch the people that start coming to your stream within like a 30-day time period. And whatever platform seems like it's the one that you would want to focus on, you try to put your primary focus on that one, but you keep having a tertiary view on the others so that you can begin to aggregate people to your stream. And you try to promote yourself. You ask your friends, hey guys, when I'm live, can you watch me do this? Hey guys, while I'm talking about this subject, do you mind if you just come in and you like open up the browser?
Can I just butt in really quick?
Yes, go ahead.
The original subject that we were on was about how people were tearing people down in the comments.
Yes. This is usually how podcasts go. You start with one subject and you branch on the other ones that are related, and it's a whole thing. But yeah. It's all connected to it because the main idea of what causes people tearing people down is self-esteem and clout, realistically.
I would say that's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Because for any situation, sometimes it's different sources what causes it for guys and girls. For when it happened to me being torn down and being attacked by Zombie Unicorn, she was attacking specifically that I was a low follower. What you would call a low follower.
Did this pertain to the tweet?
It was in the same spirit. I effectively was saying, listen, you're like out here showing your shit, and like I'm not one to do that. And her entire thing to me it was actually a literal thing. It was a literal quote that she made.
You guys both stooped and called each other names, and it got nasty.
No, she got nasty to me. And I'm like, listen, this is what I'm seeing, and I'm like, I'm not this. I don't want to do that. I'm not about that. I'm not about that life. And she kept coming at me to the point that she made a famous quote that I keep using all the time to explain it to people. And her quote is that boobs don't sell streams, personalities do. And if you don't even have boobs to promote your stream, what do you have to offer people? She was trying to think of the best thing that she could quote to me to try and tear me down. And this was right before the VTuber boom that happened on Twitch. So as soon as that happened, she was screaming. There was a bunch of streamers that were screaming about this because it was specifically when Project Melody came to the platform, and they had to make rule changes because VTuber models weren't being kept to the same standards as what female streamers were. It was a very big thing that happened on Twitter and Twitch because there were people complaining. Because how can you have rules that apply to us and not them? And they're like, nope, you're right. We agree. We're going to change the rules. And they changed the rules, and they were still screaming because the audiences that went there to see the spectacle of the new hip thing stayed there because it's like, oh shit, these girls actually have personality. It was like that for VTubers like Kasuna Ai, but she's a Japanese speaker. So unless you have like a app that lets you screen translate, you can't understand her. But then you had the people like Kyoto and Guaragara come in, and all of the others.
Oh, she nuked the place, man.
It started popping off. For Project Melody, it was a bit of a mixed bag because she first took the bag off Chatterbait because it was technically a project that was designed by a team to prove that a VTuber could be just as viable and even more viable than some IRL girls. But at the same time, it was an experiment. Because this is then when you had Pokimane start trying to do VTubing, you had PewDiePie start doing VTubing, you had a whole bunch of people that just started trying to see if they liked it, and for some it was an experiment to like revitalize the brand. For some people it was like, oh, I don't actually have to be on a camera, say goodbye to this shit! Because it's like a buy-in. You have to pay money for the rigging, and pay money for the programs to make the rigging work. So it wouldn't work for everybody. But for some people who that works for, it works for them. and it allows them to evade that usual attack, right? Because, like, you could literally be in bra and panty, or you could literally just be streaming in, like, sleepwear, or in, like, a workout set. You can literally wear anything, but nobody's gonna see your clothing. They're gonna see your personality and the avatar you put up there. If they like you for you, you know they like you for you. And if they don't like you for you, but instead the antics you do, that's okay too. It's a give it and a take. For some people, it works. For others, it doesn't. And it's important to remember that, especially when you're, like, dealing with the mob. Because the mob is always in the background. It's like a hazing, buzzing noise. It's like white noise. And the more you listen to the mob, the louder they get. But the less you listen to the mob, the less loud they are, and also the less control and the less optical control they can have on you mentally. Because a lot of the pain is done to the streamer themselves by them doing the comparisons, which is why I was on the tangent explaining about it. Because if you yourself are like, okay, I'm realistic about this. I have a very small following and I'm building. I want to start from zero. I want to build up to the point where I can be a train wreck, where I can be a Pokemon, where I can be a Sniper Wolf, where I can be a Devin Nash, where I can be an Asmongold, where I can be a Coke Carnage, where I can be any of the people who regularly get quoted. Not necessarily people like Hasanabi, but not necessarily people like XQC Twitch, because XQC and Hasanabi are on a different level and are in a different spectrum. But you just want to be someone who's up there and you want to see your name and in the marquee and lights. That's the dream that everybody wants to have. It's the quote that Devin Nash made that actually encapsulates this problem. Because we were talking about this last podcast, actually, about the first, the second, and the third wave of content creators. And our wave of content creator, third wave content creator, is based on the personality. It's not necessarily based on the fact that we were there first and we were the innovators. That's the people who are those 3-figure, 4-figure, 5-figure, 6-figure Andys. Those are the Asmongold's. Those are the people who are constantly getting brands and sponsorship deals and getting their names in lights. Those are your Summit 1Gs. Those are...
Wait, what are we talking about?
Growth. That's what we're talking about. Growth.
Okay, well, the thing with that is that those streamers have been streaming for years and years.
Exactly.
And they started in the middle of the peak of Twitch.
Yes. Exactly. Like, when people
So if you're trying to get big like that, just keep doing what you're doing and work on it.
Yes. That's the ultimate goal, is consistency. And the problem with situations like this is that when people come in, they see all the flashing lights and the bright lights in the cameras. For guys, it's a bit different because it's an entirely different path up the mountain. So, like, the way to imagine this is imagine it like it's a mountain. You start at the base of the mountain with all the Sherpas and all the advice and the guides and the manuals that you can research and believe, right? But when you're on the mountain, when you're on the path, when you're doing it, you don't have anybody holding you up except your supporters. And when you go up alone for the first time, when you first turn on your stream, when you do the first stream to 0 viewers, your first 100 stream to 0 viewers, your first 10,000 streams to 0 viewers, when the numbers of your broadcast start climbing and climbing and climbing, and you start having an internal dialogue with yourself, because shit, ain't nobody here, I might as well talk to myself. The first time you see that number go from 0 to 1, and then from 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, then 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 10, 100, 1,000, however it comes, you start to slowly begin to get confidence about it. For some people, it's like learning a skill. It's rigor. It's hard to be on a microphone and talk for hours at length, because you feel like, oh shit, I ain't talking about anything. Who would care about my opinion? But at the same time, there's somebody out there who's watching, it's like, damn, bruh, Carl's my favorite. Charza's my favorite. Anna's my favorite. I love how they talk about shit. I love the jokes that they make. And those become your loyal fans that come by all the time. So when you're going up that mountain, they become your Sherpas and they become your guides. Where you're like, I don't know, chat, what should I do next? And they're the first ones in your bumper, not just giving you positivity, but also when you feel that you're doing something wrong. You're the first ones that you go to for course correction. And with you...
That's the tight-knit community.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants to have. And most streamers, when they start out, they're like, oh, I'm just going to turn on a category for League of Legends. Me, a bronze player, bronze 5, about to slip into Iron 1. I'm going to turn on my stream, and I'm going to get 100 viewers off the bat, just cuz. And then they hit the wall, and it's like, oh, what happened? This wasn't what I was told. This isn't a dream. This is a nightmare. Oh, no. And they go through it, right? They go through it for the first stream, the second stream, the third stream, all the way up to the 10th stream. And then maybe they wake up, or they stay lost, like you said. They stay lost in the sauce. They don't necessarily focus on what is important, which is primarily what I would say is everyone's focus for any streamer. Advice that I can give is focus.
Up a silencer. Wanted me to have you drink some water.
Oh, don't worry, I got some right here.
Okay.
I prepared for beforehand, baby. But the important part, and I feel like is the important advice that I could give any streamer, it's not necessarily, what's the copy pasta meme? Free Wi-Fi, free entertainment, someone else's thing, watching the library, that whole thing. The goal, and I would say not necessarily like the viewpoint goal, but like a personal goal, is that you're not necessarily streaming to entertain other people. You're streaming to entertain yourself. Because
there you go.
You're entertaining yourself on stream because because it's the viewpoint of what people used to have when it was not the standard as it is on Twitch, or not Twitch, YouTube, I'm thinking of, where their motto was broadcast yourself, where instead the motto is broadcast. You broadcast yourself out into the world, because what brings people to the stream is your personality and the interactions you have with them. And it could be some stupid joke that you make that's self-depreciating towards yourself. It could be some interaction that you had on Twitter with somebody where they argued with you, and you just held your fucking footing, and that person just cratered into dust. Because it's like, what? I insulted this person. I tore them down to their base standard. You're supposed to be crying at my feet, saying, Queen, teach me. What are you doing? This is how it works. And you're just like, bro, I'm just standing here. I'm hungry.
Menacingly.
Like, however it happens, when you put your own happiness first with enjoying what you're doing, the quality of fun and the reactions you get back at it will affect you more on the long term and the short term than possibly losing yourself in your version of events where you're basically going through the events of emergence, where you get a taste.
Oh God!
Where you get a taste for everything.
I have to bring it up
because it's a good example. If you don't know what emergence is, please do not type it into Google right now. You're gonna scar yourself. It's a doujin. If you don't know what doujin is, you can go ahead and Google that too. But it's like what you were talking about with your experience, where you first come in, you're like, I see all these people doing that. I want to go where the people are. I want to see the money. Want to see donations falling down in my, what do you call it? Tip jar. You want to do those things, and you want to have that
she's
fun.
Doing a song.
You want to do those things, and you want to have that fun. But in order to have that fun, you have to go through the journey. And if you take that journey that way up the mountain, if you start off on the wrong foot and you focus on the wrong thing, you find yourself underneath mountains of, technically in this case we're going with snow, but I guess horrible people watching the stream and doing things that put you out there out of pocket, where you feel really super naked, where it's like, this isn't who I am. This isn't what I used to do. Why am I here? I'm scared. Please, someone take me home. Call my mom. When you get into that situation, it's a whole thing. If you go up the mountain...
Who's gonna drive you home?
If you go up the mountain the other way, if you go up the mountain, say the way somebody like Ninja did, you're familiar with Tyler Blevins' Ninja, right?
Who isn't?
Anna? Hannah.
I'm sorry. I'm so lost right now.
I can believe it.
Trust me.
We're talking about people putting other people down, and then you're talking about the struggle, and then you're talking about driving up a hill backwards, and I'm just like,
I feel like I lost you at the metaphor.
Washed my hands and came back. And you're like, when you're driving a hill backwards in reverse.
No.
And your elbows hanging
Back it up.
Oh, I'll start over. I feel like I lost you at the metaphor. It's a concept.
No. I just want to get back onto the whole point of the thing wasn't to bash
Yes, yes, that's what I'm trying to get there because it's important to explain the metaphor because the concept that Devin Nash came up with like the streamer mountain, and this is in relation to when he was trying to explain the climb of somebody like Ninja, because Ninja's got himself a problematic background, right? Like he is unironically he's unironically one of the people who come up and is one of the best examples of people saying the gamer words. The words we're not supposed to say that get us immediately canceled if we say them. The idea of the mountain is that when you are a content creator and you want to make a name for yourself, you can't go up and do things the same way other people did. That's their unique way up the mountain. They can only do that because that's them. You can't do what Ninja does. You can't do what single player Carl does. You can't necessarily do what Miss Anna does. You can't do what everybody else does. You got to do yourself. The way that they go up the mountain is not the path that's intended for you. You can make the same maneuvers. You can do the same shit.
You have to do yourself.
You can do all of this shit, but it does not matter in the end, because the only way you're going to go up that mountain is by being true to yourself. If you get lost in the snowdrift, if you get lost in the sauce of cloud, you lose yourself. And that's where a lot of the shit starts happening. When people start antagonizing people, when they start becoming toxic to themselves, when they start becoming toxic to their audience, when they start becoming toxic to other people on the internet, when they start pre-crafting situations and arguments by themselves, where they will start attacking people, and it'll be he said, she said, well, I only said this because you said that, and then you said this, and then I said that. All of that goes back to how you view your streaming experience, and how you choose to talk to yourself, and deal with how you motivate yourself and talk to your inner star player. Now we have arrived back where we're at. Let me know if I've lost you. Anna?
Awkward silence. I think you lost her.
There's a bit of delay. I'm not sure.
Fair enough.
Give her a second.
Hold on, I'm talking to chat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But you're seeing where I'm coming from this now, right? Like, it all interconnects.
Hopefully.
No. Oof. But it all interconnects. The way that people treat social media in general is, I would say, a big affectant of how people treat people on the internet. It has to do with their personal self, and Twitter is not the best example of a person's projected personal self, because you can't express your whole self in, what do we have now, 256 characters? Like, you're trying... It's something that is being put out there to catch someone's attention in the moment. Not to have, like, a deep, full, soulful conversation. Because, like what we have here, the conversation can go everywhere once you're on... when you're on a topic and you're talking about how it expresses and changes things. The interesting parts of people come out when you're able to actually talk to them. I'm pretty sure there are so many people in the chat that are, like, that have been just confused as shit, yourself included, where it's like, what the hell? How did we get here? But that's people. People are dynamic. They're not static flowing things. You can't expect them to be that one thing all the time. And if you try to put them in the box, they're going to want to break out the box. Know what I'm saying? I'll give it a second to reply.
No. Possibly.
So, for me, and what I would suggest to other people, especially if they want to be streamers, when they go on to Twitter and they try to converse with people, I would say maybe like 50% of the time do things for supposed attention, and then when a person engages the dialogue, actually be your real self and be like, bruh, it's not even like that. But it is important to remember to be human, because you honestly do not know where a person is on their personal journey, not just through their careers, but through life. The way that you can converse with people and the way that you express yourself will be completely contradictory to the picture somebody else has drawn of you. This is what I've had because I'm a shit poster. I talk so much shit so much of the goddamn time because I'm laying landmines and booby traps to try and get people to open up their viewpoint. And the only way for some people to do that is to shock the shit out of them. You have to show them something that either shocks them out of their comfort zone, or you have to show them a completely different side of yourself than what they have been told or what they would expect. And
that's true.
Is very powerful to do in business because you want to, especially as a streamer, be open and honest, but at the same time, you also have to be a thinking person because you have to have some level of business acumen at the level. Because if you try to be friendly with everyone, and you should try to be friendly with everyone, but because it's a business in an industry that's full of people coming at people, especially people manipulating people using people only becoming friends and associates, sometimes boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, whatever, to try and promote their own careers, you have to know who you can trust, you have to know who your friends are, and you have to know who you can be able to talk to. And if it's not other people, it has to be your chat. And if not your chat, it has to be yourself. And if not yourself, it has to be a trusted confidant and a friend. And I feel like that's probably the best way to go about it. I'm not going to say that you can't be the clout chaser. You can do that. That is a suggestion that I would not suggest to you, because I don't see how that will be fun for yourself, because eventually there will be a point where it will backfire. I feel like it's a ticking time bomb. You could probably do it in the beginning, but then eventually it's a little bit like immaturity, and you'll eventually grow out of it. I know that I have. And it's what I would suggest for the best chance of longevity, especially when it comes towards treating people well.
Treat others how you want to be treated, you know? I think honestly that's a...
Yes, I have talked myself fucking dry. I need to get more water. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Maybe it's a good place to stop. That's just my thought. I think we've covered a good chunk of it tonight. Unless chat has something they want to ask, or just a thought.
Hold it down, Charza. I'll be right back.
Are you asking my chat?
No, I'm just saying is I feel like I don't know if you have anything else to cover, but I think we've covered quite a few bases. Personally, I probably need some sleep soon. I know myself. Anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when Carl comes back, but I'm good for. I think we thoroughly covered the subjects.
I think so. Yeah.
So he's getting some water, so we'll see where he stands on this. But I think it's a good place to call it.
I ran out of water in my filter, so I had to go get more water from the sink.
Well, we were thinking of probably. I think we covered just about everything. If that's all right with you, Carl, I'm good for it tonight.
I didn't want to dominate the conversation all the time.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to add on, Anna, or do you feel like that was like everything?
I feel like that was everything.
Cool.
Okay. Feel solid to me?
Wonderful.
All right. So, is there any pieces of advice that anyone would like to add? Any comments, questions, concerns from anyone's chats that they'd like to take comments and questions, or does everybody want to pack it in? Because I know it's late for some people. I think we're all in the same time zone, and it's midnight now.
Yep.
Yeah, I borderline have a headache because I didn't really eat today, and I just kind of drink coffee like crazy.
Oh goodness, get yourself a boiga if you want. And that's what I would do, but.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then go quell that, I guess, and we'll wrap it up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Anna, for coming. It has been a pleasure.
It has been.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome to come back anytime, and I will try to catch you up to Carl time. I know that
I'm sure I'll learn.
I know that I talk fast, but I talk fast because there's a lot to process. Because every conversation is an open opportunity to learn things, not just about other people and about the world, but also about yourself. Especially when it comes to drama. Especially when it comes to drama on Twitter. It's like the most monastic way to go about self-preservation and self-control. But still wouldn't suggest people be on that website. It's still garbage.
I posted a meme in the chat. It said Twitter in a single image, loading toxic waste.
Mm-hmm.
I think that says it all.
Mm.
It wasn't all bad because, look where you guys are. You guys are bashing me. You're not being mean. Like, it wasn't all super bad. It was just the majority, because a lot of the women out there just took it very wrong. They saw the puke emoji and then the girls, and they were like, "Oh, no, you didn't."
It was like guerrilla
And
warfare.
But that wasn't my intent, and nobody would listen to my justifications when I was trying to say what I meant. They were cherry picking and doing whatever they want.
People are crazy. They only see what they want to see, you know?
Yeah, I just, I feel like I discussed it yesterday, and we kind of went over it, and I've got people in stream. I don't want to see that.
I gotcha. I got your back.
Okay. Well,
thank you for having me, though.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Thank you. I hope we're able to come on your stream at some point, or you come onto my stream when I'm on Twitch. But that's going to be it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you to our guest, Anna Banana, for coming on. Thank you, Anna.
Yes, thank you.
And once again, it is your boy Carl and Charza. And with that, we are going to say goodnight. Say goodnight, Charza.
Good night.
Good night, Charza.
Good night, Charza.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, Anna.
Bye.